Huck! Huck!
You don't know about me without you have read a book by the name of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, but that ain't no matter. The widow Douglas, she took me in as her son and allowed she would civilize me. It was rough living in that house all the time, seeing as how dismal and regular the widow was in all her ways. Her sister, Miss Watson, a tolerable slim old maid with goggles on, had just come to live with her and took a set at me now with a spelling book. Then she told me all about the bad place, and I said I wish I was there. Miss Watson said she was going to live so as to go to the good place. Well, I couldn't see no advantage in going where she was going, so I made up my mind I wouldn't try for it. I played with my friend Tom Sawyer a lot. One time, we messed with Miss Watson's big nigger named Jim. We tricked that nigger and he thought he was being witched. I didn't care for Miss Watson's company much, but it was surely better than Pap's. Every time he got money, he got drunk. And every time he got drunk, he raised Cain around town. And every time he raised Cain, he got jailed. Once he found out I had a fortune, he took me away. He said he would like to see the widow get me. He took me to a cabin and took me to the woods, but I done snuck out and made it look like I had died. I took the canoe and I got out of there quick. I rose up and there was Jackson's Island. I knowed I was all right now. Nobody else would come a-hunting after me. The island was mighty free, but by and by I was walking around and I seen a man on the ground. Pretty soon, he gaped and stretched himself and hove off the blanket, and it was Miss Watson's Jim. I was ever so glad to see Jim. I warn't lonesome no more.
Jim? Oh, Massa Huckleberry. How you been?
Good. How'd you get here, Jim? What are you doing here?
Maybe I better not tell.
I run away.
Why, Jim?
Well, there's reasons, but you wouldn't tell on old Jim if I'd have told you, would you?
Blamed if I would, Jim.
Well, I believe you. I'll run off.
Jim!
But mind you, Massa, you said you wouldn't tell nobody.
That's what I said, and I won't. I'll stick to it. Honest Injun, I will. People will call me a low-down abolitionist and despise me for keeping mum, but that ain't no matter. I'll stick to it, and I won't tell because I ain't going back anyways. So let's hear it out. We just two dead men running from our past.
I don't mind Jim much, but I never seen such a nigger. If he gets a notion in his head, there weren't no getting it out. He said, "Is a cat a man, Huck?" "No." "Well, then there ain't no sense in a cat talking like a man." "No, it ain't either of them." "Well, then there ain't no sense in a cat talking like either of the other of them." "Is a Frenchman a man?" "Yes." "Well, then why don't he talk like a man? Answer me that." See, there weren't no sense wasting words. Can't learn a nigger to argue, so I quit.
I judged 3 more nights will fetch the Cairo.
Well, that's true, but it won't mean nothing if we can't see through this here fog.
I'll paddle out ahead to see if I can find a towhead to tie it to. Daggone it. Where'd Jim go? Jim? Jim? Whoop! 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 Daggone it, I wish that fool would beat a tin pan. I can't find him with all this whooping. Jim! Jim! Have I been asleep this whole time? Why didn't you stir me up?
Oh, goodness gracious, Huck, is that you? Oh, and you ain't drowned or dead or nothing. Oh, honey, it's too good for true. It's too good for true. Oh, here, let me look at you, child. Let me feel all you. Oh, and you ain't dead. No, you good. You good. Man. Oh, thanks to goodness.
What's the matter with you, Jim? Have you been drinking?
Drinking? How's I been drinking? You think I has time to drink?
Well, then what got you talking so wild?
How's I talking wild?
How? Why, ain't you been talking about me coming back and all that stuff? As if I've been gone away?
Huck Finn, you look me in the eye. You look me in the eye and tell me you ain't gone away.
Gone away? Why, what in the nation are you talking about? I ain't gone away. Where would I have gone away to?
Well, looky here, boss, there's something wrong. Is that me, or who is that? Is I here, or where is that? That's what I wants to know.
Well, you's here plain enough, Jim, but I think you a tangle-headed old fool.
Is I? Well, you answer me this. Didn't you tote up here and pull the line up to this here towhead?
No, I didn't. What towhead? I ain't seen no towhead.
You ain't seen no towhead. And you didn't see the line pulled loose and the raft go on humming down the river? And you's behind in the fog up in this here canoe.
What fog?
Why the fog? The fog that's been around us all night. And didn't you whoop? And didn't I whoop? Till we get mixed up in the islands and one of us gets lost and the other is just about lost? Cause we didn't know where we was. And didn't I bust up again to Lauderdale Islands and have a terrible time most getting drowned? And now ain't that so, boss? Ain't that so? You answer me that.
Well, this is too many for me, Jim. I ain't seen no fog, no troubles, no islands, nor nothing. I've been sitting here all night talking to you till you fell asleep about 10 minutes ago, and I reckon I done the same. You ain't had no time to drink, so you must have been dreaming.
I need some time to interpret this.
I think it's all interpreted right as far as it goes, Jim. But what does these things mean?
Well, I was gonna tell you what it stands for. When I got all wore out and with work and with calling for you, I went to sleep, and my heart was most broke because you was lost, and I didn't know no more what become of me in the raft. And when I wake, I find you back again, all safe and sound. The tears come, and I could have gone down on my knees and kissed your foot. I so thankful. And then all you was thinking was about how you could make a fool of old Jim with a lie. That truck did trash. And trash is both people that puts dirt on the head of their friends and makes them ashamed.
It was 15 minutes before I could work up to go and humble myself to a nigger. But I done it, and I weren't never sorry for it afterwards neither. I ain't playing him no more mean tricks, and I wouldn't have done that one neither if I'd have known it would make him feel that way.
How we gonna know when we make it to Cairo?
Well, if the two big rivers meet, that'll show.
I heard there ain't but a dozen houses there. How we gonna know if they're not lit up?
I don't know, Huck.
There it is.
Jim's been talking about being free a lot lately. It's been troubling me so I can't sleep. He says he's gonna try to get his chillin' back. I'm sad to hear Jim talk like that. It's a mighty lowering of himself. My conscience has been stirring up hotter than ever, till finally I said, man, let up on me. It ain't too late. I'll paddle out at first light and tell. I feel happy and light as a feather. All my troubles is gone.
We safe, Huck, we safe. Jump up and crack your heels. That's good old Cairo at last, I just knows it.
Pop out behind here, Jim. I'm gonna take the canoe down river and pee. Mind me, you know.
Pretty soon I'll be shouting for joy. All on account of good old Huck. Oh, I was gonna be a free man and I was gonna remember you. Oh, you's the only friend I ever had. He's the only friend Jim's got right now. There he goes. Good old Huck. What a fine white gentleman. Only white gentleman who ever kept his promise to good old Jim.
Hey boy, who's that yonder?
A man?
You belong with him?
Yes, sir.
Is he the only one?
Only one, sir.
Well, there's 5 niggers run off tonight up yonder. Is your man white or black?
I will remember you. Will you remember me? Don't let your life pass you by.
He's white.
Well, I reckon we gonna see for ourselves, boy.
Well, I'd be glad if you did. Pap's over there. Maybe you could help me bring the canoe ashore where the light is. He's sick, and so are Ma and Mary Ann.
Oh, the devil. We ain't in a hurry, boy. But I suppose we got to. Come on, let's go.
Pap would be much obliged to you, I tell you. Everyone else, when I ask them to help me pull the canoe ashore, they run away. I can't do it all on my own.
Well, that's infernal mean, son. Say, boy, what's the matter with your Pap?
Well, well, it's not anything much.
Boy, that's a lie. Man, what is the matter with your Pap? I reckon we gonna see for ourselves. Answer up square.
Well, hold
That'll
on.
be the better for you.
Hold on there, sir. I will, honest. Look, he's got... Gentlemen, it's nothing. If you would just help me pull ahead and help me pull the canoe ashore, I promise you don't have to go anywhere near him. Will you please?
I don't know, John. Let's get out of here. Keep away, boy. Keep away, Lord.
I was listening to all the talk, but Lordsy, how'd you fool of old Huck? That was some mighty smart dodging you did. I reckon you saved old Jim. Old Jim ain't never gonna forget you for that. Today we met the Duke of Bridgewater and the Dauphin, the long-lost son of King Louis XVI of France. We in the presence of some genuine celebrities. There's some good omens surrounding these two.
It weren't long before I realized these liars weren't no kings nor dukes at all, just low-down humbugs and frauds. I didn't say nothing though. I didn't let on. I just kept it to myself. It's best that way. You don't have no quarrels and there ain't no trouble. If these two wanted us to call them kings and dukes, I didn't have no objections, as long as it kept peace in the family. It weren't no use to tell Jim neither, so I didn't. Spent a week with these rapscallions. They got us running for our lives from an angry mob. They was trouble from the start.
Hide your kids, hide your wife, cause they scamming everybody out here.
Well, Huck, I reckon I better go and find the Dolphin. He's probably drunk at some bar.
I better get. It's gonna be a long day before they see me and Jim again. Jim, let's let out. We're all right now. Jim? Jim? Whoop! 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 Excuse me. Have you seen a strange nigger around here dressed so-and-so?
Yeah, I have.
Whereabouts?
Down in Silas Phelps' place. He's a runaway nigger. You looking for him?
You bet I ain't. I run across him an hour or two ago in the woods. He said if I hollered, he'd cut my livers out. Told me to lay down. I've been there ever since, afraid to come out.
Well, there's $200 reward on him. It's like picking up money out in the street.
Sure is. I would have got him if I was a little bit bigger. Who nailed him?
Some old guy, a stranger. He took his chance in him for $40. because he couldn't wait and had to go up the river.
Thanks, boy. Man, them dirty scoundrels. After all we did for them, they went and made Jim a slave for the rest of his life for $40 dirty. I reckon if Jim's gonna be a slave, it's better that he's a slave with his own family. I'm gonna write a letter to Miss Watson, tell him where he is. But I guess I better not. She'd be mad and disgusted at his rascality and ungratefulness for leaving her, so she'd sell him straight down the river again. And if she didn't, everybody naturally despises an ungrateful nigger. And they'd make Jim feel it all the time. And so he'd feel ornery and disgraced. And then think of me. It would get all around town that Huck Finn had helped a nigger to get his freedom. And if I was ever seen anybody from that town again, I'd be ready to get down and lick his boots for shame. I don't know what to do. Daggone it, the words won't come. I can't pray a lie. Miss Watson, your runaway nigger Jim is 2 miles below Pikesville. Mr. Phelps has him and will give him up for a reward if you send. Huck Finn. I felt clean of my sin for the first time I'd ever felt in my whole life, and I knowed I could pray now. But I didn't write off. I just laid the paper down and got to thinking of how near I came to being lost and going to hell. I got to thinking of our trip down the river, and I see Jim in front of me all the time. At daytime, nighttime, sometimes moonlight, sometimes storm, us going down the river talking and singing and laughing. But I couldn't strike up no places to harden me against him, but only the other kind. I see him standing my watch on top of his'n instead of calling me so I could go on sleeping, and see him how glad he was when I come back out of the fog. And when I come to him again in the swamp, and would always call me honey, and pet me and do everything he could think of for me, and how good he always was. And at last, I struck the time I saved him by telling the men we had smallpox aboard, and he was so grateful. And said I was the best friend old Jim ever had in the world, and the only one he's got now. That's when I happened to turn around and see that paper. All right, then. I'll go to hell.
I wandered again to my home in the mountains, where you surly dawn as happy and free.
Hey, Billy John, why are we doing this?
Well, Billy Bob, there's a slave boy up in there. We need to get him in some chains.
Well, let's go. Ready? 1, 2, 3.